Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Adam and Chris Show. I'm St. Adam.
I'm Chris Malice.
Today we're here to talk about Morbius. You've probably seen the trailer for Morbius. Marvel character, living vampire, Spider-Man villain turned anti-hero. So we're here to discuss all things Morbius leading up to this movie.
All
Chris,
right.
what's your opinion on Morbius?
The trailer looked good. I like to call it the Jared Leto apology world tour for his whoever's with at fault for his role as Joker in Suicide Squad, be it the studio, be it him. I think he gave it his all, but look, you weren't going to top Heath. Good luck. Good luck.
He's the buffer between Heath Ledger and Joaquin Phoenix.
Yeah, let's just call it that. But there's a lot about that I like. The fact that he has this ailment where he looks borderline crippled. I think he's going to be awesome in it. I actually have good expectations for it.
So, before we talk about the movie, let's talk a little about the character himself. Now, Dr. Michael Morbius was born in Greece to a single mother. He was born with a blood disease. This blood disease affected him, it's basically killed him. And you kind of see what it did to him in the film. Morbius first appeared as a Spider-Man villain in 1971, Amazing Spider-Man issue 101. You'll know, if you ever see the cover, Spider-Man had 6 arms in that story because he was mutating. Morbius, it's kind of weird because he turns people into other vampires in that story. It's really before they figured the character out. You find out later on that the people were just under the impression they were vampires. Mm-hmm. Early 70s comic, you just gotta let it kind of be what it is.
Oh yeah, wasn't that directed by the Comics Code that there are certain things that they couldn't do?
Well, they were slowly and surely breaking those rules.
So just to all the people that get outraged by art having to whatever, there was this thing called the Comics Code that made comics shitty. Think about that next time you fucking idiots go out there and go, oh no, Joker's doing something bad to a woman in a comic book.
Or Joker's just doing something bad.
Yeah.
But how is it we've referenced the Joker twice in this video?
I just watched Joaquin's movie last night, man. Fucking great. Got it yesterday.
Anyway, back to Morbius. So yeah, Morbius started off as a Spider-Man villain. You kind of felt bad for him because the way he became a vampire is he had this blood ailment. He tried to fix it with science, some experiments he performed on vampire bats to try to cure himself, and in comic book fashion, became a monster. So the cure was worse than the disease. Morbius was on and off again. He'd get cured, then revert, get cured, then revert. Until about 1974, people did like the concept of the character because they called him a living vampire, what that meant was he wasn't undead. He was just as alive as any of the rest of us. He just fed on blood, had pale skin, superhuman strength, fangs, could fly, but things like crosses, silver, holy water, like that stuff, the religious aspect didn't work. Garlic didn't work. Yeah. You could kill him with driving a stake through his heart, but you could kill Spider-Man by driving a stake through his heart.
Well, you could kill anyone by driving a stake through their heart.
Except Wolverine.
Yeah.
Or Hulk. But that's beside the point. Anyway, so he was a living vampire. He was created by science. So he was popular enough to kind of... In the mid-70s, Marvel tried to experiment with some darker themes. That's when Punisher got his black and white book.
Okay.
And they branched out. They did this thing called the Adventure into Fear comic. And in issue 20, they started giving Morbius his own starring role. He was kind of like the Hulk. He was the hero, but he was the hero that was hunted by the government. There's an FBI agent, Simon Stroud, that was hunting him. And they even had to team up together to fight actual vampires. It was the 70s. It was crazy. It had a very Hammer horror feel to it.
Yeah.
I have a couple reprints of them. They're pretty good. You just got to keep in mind they're from the mid-70s. So every sentence ends with an exclamation mark.
Yeah.
It's just the time period. But yeah, that's where Morbius stayed as this sympathetic villain until about 1992. See, in 1992, Marvel had great success with reviving Ghost Rider, and they wanted to do a bunch of more supernatural comics. That's where Blade really became the Blade that we know. Fun fact, Blade and Morbius fought together in the 70s in that Adventure into Fear comic. He actually, it's funny, Blade, if you think Luke Cage was dressed bad in the 70s, look up how Blade looked back then. It's bad. But while Blade still had the same origin story he had in the movies, he didn't really have his superpowers until Morbius bit him, and somehow it activated his super strength and everything like that. So Morbius and Blade are pretty intertwined. But like I said, in the early 90s, they were putting together this run of books called the Midnight Suns, and they needed supernatural characters. You already had Ghost Rider and Johnny Blaze, the original Ghost Rider, riding around together. You had The Darkhold, which was a very underrated book. It was about a group of people brought together to protect this supernatural spell book. It only lasts about 12 issues, but it wasn't bad. Like I said, you had Blade on that team with Hannibal King and Drake. Don't think of the Blade 3 movie. It's where they got the concept, but this comic was a lot better. Drake was actually a human descendant of Dracula.
Oh, okay.
Right. So you had all these characters running around together. I thought they should have added more like Werewolf by Night to the team. Doctor Strange ended up joining the team later on. But they threw Morbius in there to make him more of an anti-hero. And in the comics, Morbius, he was superhuman strength and stuff like that, but they introduced more powers that he would have in this comic there's this group of demons. You remember Lilith, right?
Yeah.
She had this group of demons going around to try to sabotage the coming together of the Midnight Suns. Mm-hmm. So when Morbius was captured, they were trying to cure him. One of Lilith's agents cut his hand open and poured demon blood into the serum. So when they injected into Morbius, he started mutating further, got stronger. They explained his ability to fly as like a psionic ability. He got, and I hope this is in the movie, a hypnotic gaze where he could like look into someone's eyes, like in those classic Dracula films. They explain this like he could like it was almost like a psychic kind of power. He could like look past their will and get them to do stuff. He developed a healing factor, while not quite what Wolverine's is. He still had it. Wasn't as strong. He even got the ability to like distend his bones, so he could like contort into just unnatural positions and like dislocate his bones and like fit through like really small spaces. So they really put a lot of thought into this. They gave him an actual costume. See, Morbius's costume was just a kind of a Dracula knockoff almost. But in this, and I really want this to be the costume they used for the movie, it was very much inspired by Edward Scissorhands. They even had Morbius find it, like he goes to like this S&M shop because he needed clothing that would protect him from not only battle but like sunlight, because while he's not an actual vampire, his skin is so sensitive, it like gets like an intense sunburn, like third-degree burn really, if he's out in the sun for long periods of time. So he needed something to protect himself. So it made sense. Yeah. The costume looked badass. But Ghost Rider was the premier dark, macabre, supernatural comic for Marvel at the time, and I would wager to say the first 10 issues of that Morbius book surpassed Ghost Rider. In fact, it introduced one of Morbius's few recurring villains,
the Basilisk,
which is not in this movie, but damn well needs to be in the sequel.
Yeah. So
tell us about the Basilisk.
So the Basilisk was a guy by the name of Wayne Gifford who basically killed himself to become this. It was in a satanic sacrifice.
Well, he had a horrible life, and like that rage and vengefulness grew into like this demonic seed inside of him. Then he started to get into occult stuff. So he planned out this satanic ritual where he laid in this pentagram and slashed his throat, and that body died, but that seed that was inside him, the basilisk, just like rips out of his chest.
Yep. And that was
that thing.
So here's my thing. We don't know what the actual rating of this Morbius movie is going to be.
It's gonna be PG-13.
If they didn't do it during Venom, they're not going to do it during Morpheus. They're not going to make it R. I think they should.
Yeah.
It will be better. We've had, how many fucking comic book films that have been R-rated that have done really good now?
Deadpool, Logan,
4.
Joker.
And Deadpool 2.
That's counting franchises.
Yeah, but I mean, that's...
I don't know if you would consider... I liked Watchmen, but I don't know if it was a success or not.
I don't know. I still thought it was pretty good.
But... Yeah, so the Basilisk would be this amazing character to bring in a sequel because, like, him and Morbius, they're the same almost. But it's not in that he has the same powers as Morbius. Here's Morbius cursed that wants to get his humanity back. And here's the Basilisk, like he said, looks like this big lizard creature that threw away his humanity.
Yeah.
So they're kind of similar, but opposites.
And when those two threw down in the comic, they threw the fuck down.
It was a great fight.
Yeah.
In fact, it was one of those victories where Morbius had to suffer to win.
Yeah, and that's the best story for...
And they both had hypnotic gazes. Mm-hmm. So, like, I could totally see them doing a thing where, the Basilisk is killing people and they think it's Morbius.
Yeah, you can. You totally can.
But, so Morbius proved to be popular, and then around 1995, in the second season of Spider-Man...
Oh, we're going to go there.
We will go there. I'll give you a lead-in. They introduced all these Spider-Man characters. So in the second season, they wanted to do Morbius. Now, you're going to ask yourself, how do you do a vampire on a Saturday morning cartoon that had a lot of censorship already thrown at it?
You fucking don't. You shouldn't fucking do it. You shouldn't fucking do it. Leave it be.
Hammer drop. Yeah, so how do you do a vampire on a show that won't let you use the word blood? You can't mention the word die, death, kill.
No, this is fucking bad already.
He has fangs, but you can't show blood. How do they do it, Chris?
Okay. First off, they gave him fucking fangs. He never bit anyone. He had these fucking things on his hands that sucked plasma from people.
Yeah, he couldn't say blood, so he had to say plasma.
Fucking fangs.
So, yeah, what Morbius would do was he had these suction cups on his hands and he'd just grab people, bare skin,
shit,
drink plasma through his hands. Now, you could make the jokes. I remember this might be...
It sucked? Because it did?
Quite literally?
Literally and figuratively, everything about it.
I remember the Attack of the Killer Tomatoes cartoon on Fox where they did the Halloween episode. One Tomatoes became a vampire and he was going to bite someone. They actually had a woman dressed as like a Fox News censor come out like, you can't bite anyone on a cartoon. It's bad for the children. So that might have been all Fox saying, you can't do this.
It was.
So yeah, they
apparently they didn't know what they fucking signed on to.
So yeah,
it's a fucking vampire.
Morbius was a vampiric leech.
Yeah, it's all dumb. It was just dumb. It was just dumb. It shouldn't have been done. Like when they had Carnage on there. Okay,
you should have kept your hammer.
What Carnage is famous for doing is going in the middle of the public and stabbing motherfuckers with blades that he makes out of his symbiote. That's what he's famous for doing. If you can't show that to kids, don't fucking waste their time.
They actually did show the blades, the axes, and everything in the cartoon. He just never used them on
anyone. He fucked out their life force. Jesus Christ.
So what'd you say if you can't do it right?
Don't fucking do it. Don't fucking do it. And then they put this weird Mephisto. I remember watching. I'm like,
Chris, Morbius.
Oh, fucking terrible.
Morbius. Calm down. Morbius.
Didn't they not learn anything from the Batman animated series? Kids are a little bit more mature than fucking 3-year-olds. I mean, you could show some of that shit off. Now we still look at the Batman animated series and talk about how fucking great it is, and people go, yeah, the Spider-Man series was okay, I guess.
It was done by the same studio that did Gargoyles.
How do you fuck that up? How do you fuck that up?
I mean, in all fairness to Gargoyles, they didn't have vampires on there either.
Yeah, but that show still had grit and balls. Fuck, there was a point where a guy got shot. There was a little bit of blood. I mean, you didn't have to fucking turn to a goddamn snuff film, but Jesus Christ. Gargoyles was great. How did you fuck that up?
Anyway,
Oh, Jesus.
before Chris makes this into a video with several subjects. So that was Morbius's first appearance in like media, other than comic books and anything like that. Then, when the first Blade movie rolled around, there is a alternate ending. You can find this on the DVD, where after, Deacon Frost has been killed and they set it up, they're going to do a sequel instead of going to Moscow. Blade walks outside and there's a figure standing on a building across from him, wrapped in bandages and everything. It's supposed to be Morbius. They intended for Morbius to be the villain of the second Blade film. However, Marvel said, we don't want him as a villain because Blade kills his villains. Morbius, we can do a spin-off film about Morbius.
How long did that take for them to get that going?
Well, that was in 1998. The second Blade came out in 2002.
Okay, now we have the
18
first...
years?
Yeah.
So, there was that. So now we fast forward a little more, and now there's a Morbius movie in the works because Venom proved to be a hit. Sony wants to do an extended Spider-Man universe.
Which could be great.
It could be. So they already did Venom. Morbius is now being made. They want to do Black Cat, Silver Sable, Nightwatch. Spike Lee actually wants to direct Nightwatch.
Cool, dude. Do it. Let him do it. Don't fucking dictate to him. Let him do it. Let Spike Lee do that movie the way Spike Lee wants to do it. Unless he has him wearing a stupid... People in that wearing a stupid fucking... Ask me about my feminist fucking agenda shirt. Unless he starts doing that.
That haunted your dreams.
Yeah, because it's fucking terrible. Angela Queen of Hell, all of a sudden, frequents feminist fucking frequency. Oh. I digress.
Yeah, I mean, you could make the connection there.
Yeah, you can.
But anyway. So, we're getting a Morbius movie starring Jared Leto. If you haven't seen the trailer, you can find it on YouTube. It looks good. But, like Chris said, the Venom trailer looked really good until it said PG-13. Now, I still like Venom. My wife loves Venom. Ironically enough, he's one of her favorite Marvel characters. It goes Groot, Venom, Deadpool. That's a hell of a combination right there.
Yeah, that's
very random. So she loves Venom, and she loved this movie, but people are getting their heads bitten off, and Eddie Brock says, fuck it in the film. It should have been rated R. I think they shot a rated R film and just edited it down to PG-13. Morbius should be rated R given the subject matter and how dark it looks. Odds are it'll be rated R also.
Well,
odds are
PG-13.
Rated PG-13.
The trailer I thought looked great. It looked good. There's only one issue I had with the trailer.
What?
And it was a great surprise, but looking back, can we leave this, because they did that with Batman vs. Superman.
Oh, yeah.
Adrian Toomes, Michael Keaton's character from Far From Home, Vulture.
So it's funny because you don't know who Keaton's playing just based on what he looks like. If you go to the page, the Wikipedia page, it says he's been cast in an undisclosed role.
It's Vulture. It's the same fucking... Come on, it's a Spider-Man universe character. He's Vulture. Okay, there is no if, and, or but. Okay, it's Vulture. Come on, so he's playing Vulture.
There's that, but I highly doubt he's going to be the main villain of the film.
He's not.
I think Matt Smith's character is going to be the main villain because number one, there's a tradition of former doctors from Doctor Who being Marvel villains. Eccleston did it in Thor: The Dark World. Tennant did it in Jessica Jones.
Yeah, God, that was so great. That was so fucking great.
So now it's Matt Smith's turn to be a Marvel villain. And then, maybe they'll call up Peter Capaldi after he's done with Suicide Squad 2.
There you go.
But I could see him. I looked up the character's name. He plays a character. I've never heard of this character. He plays a villain called Hunger, who has basically just the same powers as Morbius. Mm-hmm. Maybe just without the conscience. Mm-hmm. So, this is going to be like Venom where you get a villain that has the exact same powers as the hero. But, okay, I'm fine with that. I do like mirror image storylines where it's like, this is who I could be if I let myself go down that path. Should be rated R. Don't think it will be. But, all that considered, I do think it'll be worth watching.
Yeah.
And I did forget the role Morbius played in one of your favorite comic book arcs.
Fucking Frankencastle. Jesus Christ, that was so horrible.
Yeah, after Chris's favorite Marvel character, Daken, killed the Punisher.
Jesus, that was so fucking dumb. Whoever fucking...
Morbius stitched them together as Frankencastle.
Yeah, it was stupid as fuck.
And then also, Morbius was brought back for another series in 2013. I never read it. It didn't look as good to me as the original Midnight Suns Morbius did. So I could be wrong. Could be good. But there you go. There's a little bit of a history of Morbius. I enjoy the character. You know, I remember back in the 90s and even the early 2000s thinking they should do this. Get Johnny Depp to play him. Give him the fucking costume he had in the 90s.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. I like seeing Jared Leto's performance in the trailer. Mm-hmm. I'm more excited about him being Morbius than Johnny Depp.
Well, but this is back, again, so long ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, Jared Leto, like you said, it looks like an apology for Joker and Suicide Squad.
Hey, I'll take it. If it's good, you are fucking forgiven.
Forgiven.
There you go.
All right. Well, that brings us to the end of the subject. Chris, do you have anything you recommend that they check out?
I'm going to say if you can find a way, if you have does the Marvel like the Disney app, if you can get this Disney Marvel Plus app, whatever Disney that Plus has past issues of the comic, if you can find Morbius's fight in story with the first appearance of the Basilisk,
was that issue 4 and 5? No, issue 5 and 6, I think.
Yeah, I have it. It's beat up because it's from the fucking 90s, but in one of my big comic fucking boxes, it's in there and it's put together with like tape and shit.
I mean, I got like a more pristine because you know me, I keep my comics under lock and key.
Well, I got this thing when I was like fucking 12.
Yeah, and you probably thought it was amazing.
Oh yeah, I thought it was great.
Do you recommend they check out the episodes of Spider-Man?
No, don't watch that. Don't watch that shit.
All things considered, though, he had a pretty cool design until you got to the hands. I just recommend checking out that old Morbius series, not just the issue with the Basilisk, but I mean, at least the first 10 issues. Well, see, what happened was when they got a different creative team in there, and Marvel did the whole Midnight Suns crossover later on with Lilith, you know, the Siege of Darkness.
Yeah.
Morbius got the shit end of the stick in that because what they did is he was infected by that demon blood, so there was like a little bit of Lilith inside of him, so he was like a sleeper agent, which is a good concept, but the way it was executed was horrible because he starts mutating, he looks all lumpy and everything, and then he gets a split personality called Bloodthirst, who actually is given a physical form after like Morbius bleeds him out, and the comic just got bad at that point, and it never really regained its footing, and the last issue was issue 32, and they canceled it.
Sounds like shit.
It off to a great start, but the longer it went, the shittier it got, unfortunately, because, like I said, first 10 issues, 12 issues, really good. Darker than Ghost Rider.
Yeah, Ghost Rider is pretty dark.
Right. So, having said that, we thank you for watching this video. Be sure to follow us on both Facebook and Twitter. We'll have the links in the description at the end of the video. And from Chris and I'm St. Adam.
I'm Chris Malice.
We'll see you guys later.
See ya.